The program is still listening to now. Good morning, Salon. We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Inside the program, as we mentioned, one power headline stories today. Radio Democracy go talk to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Alpha Sise. We go talk about the status of the draft process of the constitutional review proposal on the electoral reforms. Well, for Sekadasa, I want to welcome inside the program. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning, Musa. Good morning to the 98.1 team, and good morning to the people of Sierra Leone.
Okay, just a quick background. Inside 2013, President Nkrumah being set up Constitutional Review Committee for look inside the 1991 Constitution. This committee done their work inside 2017. After that, they been developed and pull white paper on recommendation them. Well, in 2018, change of government come and waiting on the happen to the constitutional review recommendations them, and also the tripartite committee then work and the recommendations on the electoral reforms. Make we get Alpha Sise inside the program. Once again, good morning.
Good morning.
With that background, where I don't give on the constitutional review committee then work and the white paper would have been published in 2017 before change of government in 2018. Waiting have been the development then now since government change with regards to the constitutional review.
Thank you very much, Musa, and again, good morning to the people of Sierra Leone. Always great for bringing government in work to the people we really meant for serve. Now a privilege for the in this whole year, so and for accompanying this process, the constitutional review process, where President Bio don't make a commitment say it will complete. We of course not say the constitutional review process. The process we don't go on for over 20 years. Good that Musa you provide a background there for we people them, and we can look for say the constitutional review process now really an example of where we say government na continuity now in this. We say one government starts something, transfer to the other, and then the other continue. And it's also good for note see, in fact, the constitutional review process predates former President Nkrumah, because when we signed the peace agreement with the RUF in 1999, in that Lome peace agreement day, there's a clause there who say we make a commitment, say we will review the 1991 constitution. Fambulano say the Lome peace agreement was enacted in Parliament and become law. So that's a commitment. It's a law say we go review the 1991 constitution. And then, Fambula members say government will set up the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We work around this country, so really try for look into the historical narrative and causes of the war in this country, also, and make recommendations for how we go prevent going back to that side where we come out where na be the war. And one of the recommendations where the Truth and Reconciliation Commission make now for make we review the 1991 constitution, because according to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, after they don't look at all waiting lead to the war and how we manage the country, then realize say the 1991 constitution not be sufficient for provide safeguards for we. And so the commission may recommend say make we undertake broad consultations across the country and come up with a revised constitution which will reflect the views and aspirations of the people of Sierra Leone for a democratic society will linked to economic development. And so waiting late President Kabadu right away was he set up waiting have been the Peter Tucker Constitutional Review Committee. We work and submit a report. Now be a small committee, less than 15 people, and complete in work change of government by the time we complete in work. So Peter Tucker committee be hand in report over to former President Nkrumah. But former President Nkrumah watch say, make we open the process up more, and so now that make it been set up the 80-member committee chaired by the late Justice Edmund Cowan, who call the Cowan Constitutional Review Committee, where been comprised of 80 people, representatives from all over the place, political parties, civil society, media, market women, ordinary Sierra Leoneans. And that committee, they undertake extensive consultations, more than 10,000 consultations, more than 150 position papers, hold expert meetings, travel in different countries and look at best practices and come up with what we now know as a report of the Constitutional Review Committee. So the current committee hand over that report to former President Nkrumah, as you don't rightly note, Musa. In 2017, take note, the current committee worked from 2013 to 2017. That's a long time. and hand that report over to President Nkrumah, and then President Nkrumah, former President Nkrumah in government, being therefore issue the 2017 white paper. We say he accept some of the recommendations, but plenty the way it not being accepted. And then government change. We remember say when President Bio be the campaign, he been say that constitutional review committee, that constitutional review process, what we don't depend for long, I go complete them. And he keep up to that commitment. And so in 2021, President Bio in government being for issue waiting we call the 2021 white paper. We not to be a new process. We want make people understand that. Now be campaign promise with President Bio be make, now be a governance commitment with President Bio make when it take power. And so President Bio say, you know, we don't get two committees. We don't get the Kawan committee where former President Nkrumah set up. We don't do extensive consultations. We don't give you quality reports. So let's take it up from there. And so the 2021 white paper, now a white paper where the government of President Bio issue on the Kawan Constitutional Review Committee. I emphasize this point because I want to make people understand, say, not a new process. President Bio not just grab one morning and say, all right, you know, this white paper, so they more could change this and the constitution. No. Now, based on recommendations which don't be made, based on consultations which don't be undertaken at the country by two different constitutional review committees set up by two administrations before him. And so now, the process of taking it to completion. So out of that white paper, we then now at a point where we are working on the technical details. We're not drafting of constitutional instruments. We will go to Parliament. But then, whilst we're in this process, we take note, say, the tripartite committee being therefore come up, set up out of the agreement for national unity. We've been get 8 clauses. But a lot of people pay attention to clause 3. We now set up a tripartite committee. We see now the cross-party committee. We for look at electoral reforms in this country. So that committee they make recommendations. We touch on the constitution. We go require constitutional amendments. So President Bio, as part of a commitment for really strengthening with governance architecture in this country, also for look at that and left them as legacy, how we strengthen this country also in democratic system. Say, make the recommendations from the tripartite committee. We touch on the constitution. May them be included in this process also for take the constitutional review process to completion. So now Saudi, now that we don't take both processes, put them together, and we are drafting.
Would they look at some of the provisions them with the inside waiting on the draft? But from your explanation, in 2017 we get a white paper. You say President Nkrumah then been take some of the recommendations and reject some.
Yes.
In 2021 there is also another white paper. What is similar or what is different between the two white paper where President Nkrumah been launched and what is Mada Bio launch?
Well, I would say what is similar now that now an upgrade, right, of the 2017 white paper. Waiting different. Now there are upgrades in there. So what do I mean? So President Bio no say for cancel out the 2017 white paper. He set up a committee. The committee take the 2017 white paper, study them, and what say yes, things in the inside this white paper will not be accepted by the government of former President Nkrumah. But that were not sufficient. So yes, we keep them where we don't be accepted by former President Nkrumah. Yes, that is what is similar. But then President Bio and government say, make we upgrade. Let's go back to the Kawan committee. Make we accept say waiting in the 2017 white paper not enough for the people of this country. Make we add to that. So now additions.
Okay.
Now in the 2021 white paper and that we take forward.
The white paper we on our draft in 2021, what are some of the things we on are able for look at say need for the white paper we different from the previous white paper of the previous government?
Well, you know, the point is so one I go one for really focus on like the additions. I don't want to make it be a debate on waiting there was say waiting there one or say, because like I don't say from the onset, the constitutional review process we look at them as continuity in governance. built on waiting late President Kaba start, waiting former President Nkrumah continue, and then waiting President Bio take to completion. I like for say the Constitutional Review Committee, the Constitutional Review work now like when you run relay, right? You transfer baton from one person to another. We don't use for see that in a sport when we did school or we go watch athletics meets, now other public places. But this time round, President Bio commitment now that when they don't hold the baton, for hand them over to another government, now for taken to completion. So I would like to talk about waiting some of the things and we additions, we then at the 2021 white paper. One for note say the 2021 white paper try for strengthen the human rights provisions. We then we constitution and we the Cowan committee they make recommendations on. For example, the Cowan committee, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission may not recommend say this country for abolish the death penalty. But we not be don't touch that. When President Bio come, President Bio make them very clear say he not believe say government for take another person in life, whatever the nature of the offense where the person conducted. That's not human rights. The thing where we can sometimes ignore now how much of the recommendations now the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in report where President Bio don't implement. It's unprecedented. So, but back I come to the Constitution. So the TRC will recommend that. The Cowan Constitutional Review Committee will also recommend that. But remember, say, when President Bio can have power, one of the things that we do, now for enact the Abolition Act, we now for abolish the death penalty. We get that now as law.
So that based on the Constitutional Review recommendations?
It's based on the TRC in recommendations, and then of course on President Bio in personal conviction. As a human being, we believe in human rights, say, the government, the state, not for take another person in life. Okay. And then of course linked to the Constitutional Review Committee. So now how you make this connection? Like I say, abolish the death penalty, right? We get the Abolition Act 2022. But then in the Cowan Constitutional Review Committee, it also recommends say make we abolish the death penalty. So what in the white paper do? If you look at section 16 of the Constitution, the 1991 Constitution, we guarantee mortal man in right to life as a human right, but it also gets a clause where basically we can say like an exemption or something in a clause we basically say except what said you don't violate the person in right to life if that is done in the execution of a lawful judgment of the court. So wherein they don't try somebody, they don't convict the person, and then sentence the person to death, and then they execute that person there, the Constitution say you not go term that for be a violation of the right to life. So in the 2021 white paper, that's one of the things we did it. See, for pull that particular clause there. So that means as recommended by the Cowan Committee, accepted in the white paper, and of course linked to the Abolition Act President champion and enact, it means say whatever the offense, the state not go take another person in life. So that's not an upgrade in the white paper. If you look at the same chapter 3, where the human rights provisions inside we Constitution, if you go to section 29, we talk about the state of emergency when it becomes necessary for make the state declare emergency. Yes, plenty people can say during state of emergency there are times leeway can dey for human rights violations, etc. But then in this white paper, in the 2021 white paper, it don't be stated now say we need a new clause. Now section 29 we go see during a state of public emergency we not go get any derogation when it comes to the right to life. So that's now an addition. Also there are other additions. For example, we all remember the discussions around whether President King relieve a vice president or waiting will happen if the president or vice president lose membership the political party. The Cowan Committee been therefore recommend say make we tighten that side that when you lost membership not automatically means say you lost your qualifications for serve, but then it will trigger the process in Parliament. That now an addition inside the 2021 white paper.
Okay.
If you go to chapter 2 of the constitution, we talk about the fundamental principles of state policy. When are there you get things in like, you know, right to education, right to health. Government don't make a lot of investment in these sectors here. So, and so for the white paper, these should be included in the revised constitution. So that one has some of the upgrades, you know, where we get in the 2021 white paper.
The program now, good morning, saluting the country from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. If you just join with today, we talk to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Alpha Sise, where they talk about the status of the drafting process of the constitutional review proposal on electoral reforms. And we will bring you this edition of the program, Musa Kamalana Minim.
And Adeyemi Jackson. Mr. Minister, you don't give updates, but the stage at which you meet and with the stage where you don't take on. So, as we talk now, which stage we on a day in terms of the drafting process of the recommendations then?
Well, so one thing we don't try for do, yes, now the constitutional review process don't become two-pronged. I say two-pronged in the sense that we get the white paper proposals we're taken out of the current constitutional review report, where I don't talk about. And then now we don't get recommendations from the tripartite report. The tripartite report in recommendations, several of them, then touch on elections. So, but the good thing for we is that several of the proposals we come out of the tripartite committee in report where proposals where both parties come together over a 6-month period and make. Several of them they will align with waiting being already there na the white paper, so that make them easier. So when we don't look at the matrix, we realize say about 17 provisions when you put all two together, about 17 provisions inside the constitution go need for be amended for strengthening the electoral architecture. So what we want to do? Two things. One, government very committed to the recommendations in the tripartite report, because make we note say even before there was a tripartite committee, it was President Bill who first determined say need there for make a review the electoral architecture, and it be set up a committee chaired by the vice president for look at this. But of course later, you know, we make that into that feed into the agreement for national unity, where we know now as a tripartite committee. And so that committee they make in recommendations. So what do we want to do? Because of government commitment to the reports, to the recommendations we did inside the tripartite report, then one and the time bound. And also you want to ensure say if you change electoral laws, you do them ensuring say that there has to be like a long period. It got to be done. Say a long period before the elections themselves take place. And so because of that, government don't decide say the tripartite recommendations, and then of course, you know, those proposals in the constitution will touch on elections, then one and they need for be amended immediately. Okay. And so then one and they we did ahead in the drafting process. We don't already draft, then one and they, and then you know we will make the provisions then very public. We will make various interest groups understand what's in the proposals, political parties, civil society, election management bodies, and then of course the general public. So then one day we hope for table before parliament as soon as parliament come back from recess. Okay. Then one day go there before parliament, and then after that the bigger package where we don't talk about, we a product of that white paper go come as part of the second phase. But then at the end of the day we will take and say all go form part of what we will call one new and improved constitution. We will reflect the views and aspirations of the people of this country also for a democratic society.
What is you mentioned say when they look at 7 key provisions there in the electoral reforms when it comes to the recommendation of the white paper or the white paper or the constitutional review or the tripartite. What are the key provisions then of the 17 provisions I want to look into?
Well, I'll talk about a few. I think say government tripartite committee, we all accept, see, we are one of the few countries on the African continent, we still get this law in the constitution, say, when you go into elections, a candidate for pool 55% in the first round, for make, be declared a winner. If you not hit 55%, then before going to runoff expensive, it costs tensions. Sometimes the runoff even tends past the elections on the first round. And so all parties accept a proposal and propose, say, make we amend the constitution and take away that 55% threshold in the first round of the election. And we come like how some other countries and then some countries they win a 50+1. As soon as you pass 50%, you don't be declared a winner. Some countries then they win a simple majority. And these are countries where now we neighbors where we did together in this region here. And so this is the international best practice. So yes, this is one of the proposals. So yes, we will propose, we'll lay a constitutional instrument before Parliament for say, make we move from that 55% threshold and be like other countries. Another one. Another thing we know say we law as it is the constitution say when the time is for election, the president, after it don't consult with the Electoral Commission, will set the date for elections. Now we want to take the power day from the president. We are in sometimes President King play with whether an plus or -3 months and all of it. So now in the proposal for constitutional amendment, it will be that we get a fixed date for election at this country. It is in the constitution. So we know say on this date every 5 years we get an election. Other concerns don't come up about how we handle election petition. And so now we want to ensure, say, as part of this amendment, we set timelines within which the judiciary for hear election petitions and make a determination. So that way, we not get the country for wait for a very long time. There are times that some people don't say trials when a candidate in a court ahead of elections, we politicize the electoral process through the courts. So you want to get rid of that. And so there's a proposal, say, get a fixed timeline, say like 1 year. If somebody not a candidate, a presidential candidate, in a criminal matter with the state involved, then that trial will be suspended until after the elections. We also get other provisions. Then we say, if you hold public office or they get salary from the Consolidated Revenue Fund, you for resign your position 12 months, before you become a candidate in an election. We feel say that's too much. So the proposal is reduce that from 12 months to 6 months. So then one are some of the proposals then with the inside the constitutional review, inside the drafting process for the constitutional review we get for do with elections.
Okay. Another concern or what way we don't go around are the issue of the age of when somebody for contest for the presidency. Many people don't raise concern that either the age for be reduced or for be add. This is not something we captured the part of the recommendations.
No, that not come up in the discussions. In the Cowan report, in the white paper, in the tripartite report. As per the constitution, it remains clear say you for be 40. For make you qualify for run for president. I also one add, say there are also some other provisions where we don't make in statute, such as the requirement for make we get the minimum 30% threshold. Yes, it is in the Giwi Act, you understand, but there's a proposal saying make Dandy be part of the constitution as well. So it is guaranteed. Of course, some other discussions don't come about which will be the preferred electoral system, whether it's first past the post or a proportional representation system, and the tripartite report. So that I want to talk about, because you get different strands to it. One is that
we can look at that proposal there. But earlier you mentioned the 50+1 or simple majority as the proposal. Within these two way you explain, which one will propose? Is it 50+1 or simple majority for become president?
Well, one, we will see the proposal will be proper when the constitutional instrument will be drafted. But waiting come out of tripartite process was that we go for 50+1, but that we also propose some other safeguards, for keep the country together. For make we not get a situation where say, one party just focus on a own region, forget electoral votes. There's also a recommendation to say we set up a minimum threshold where a candidate for poll now a specific number of the voting districts across the country, not all voting districts, but now the specific threshold where it will get a minimum threshold where we will get a specific number of the voting districts in the country as an addition to that.
So let me look at the timeline again. Timeline being there at the constitution then, whether 4 months after you time for conduct an election. Which kind of timeline will they talk about? Is it we talk about dates, we talk about months? Which kind of timeline this new constitution or the draft process they suggest or they think about for present to parliament?
Well, it's going to be a fixed date. I'm waiting to go before parliament. Now that we will get a fixed date in the month, we will put now the constitution. See, now on this day, every 5 year, election will take place. I think the discussions for a lot of people now whether that day for be rainy season or dry season, or whether that day for be the time we will get the hottest in the hottest time of the year, we will affect old people, we will affect sick people, or whether we want to do after the rains, we the temperatures kind of manageable, so now that it will be say what we go say we're not going to say like how you get some countries like America gets like a specific date, you understand. We will just put say it will be maybe like the first Saturday or the second Saturday of this month or the last Saturday of this month. So on whatever date that particular Saturday fall, it will be the date on which we will get elections in this country.
The term of office of the presidency, now one way don't be rumored that there is a need for increase the term of office from the 5 years to 7 years, and the vice chair of the Human Rights Commission don't argue that there is a need for that they increase the term of office from 5 years to 7 years. That's something we captured in the recommendations then?
No, make them very clear to Fambulen. Nothing in the Kawan report, in the white paper, in the instruments where with the draft, we suggest say for alter the 5 year term where the constitution provide for.
But any plan for do that?
There are no plans, and President Biosef don't address that in one of his public statements. See, if anybody tell you see government they discuss increasing the presidential term from 5 to 7 years, it is wrong. It is not on the table. There are no discussions on that. And President Bill also don't make them very clear say if anybody they say the constitutional review process is used to benefit him so it will stay beyond 2028. He has said that is wrong. As somebody we believe in democracy, something we they don't show commitment to from the time we're in 30s, hand over to a democratic government. They don't also say in 2028 it go hand over to a new elected president of this country, and then it will go live in life as a statesman.
Okay. Alpha CC, Attorney General Minister of Justice, continue for the between the program. The program now Good Morning Salon, and they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. And we still get the Attorney General Minister of Justice, Alpha CC. We don't take you through the process where the constitutional review process they now. Let me go into, there is this call on the electoral process that the issue of a PR system, which will not consider during the process, drafting process so far with regard the PR system?
So I would say, among the various provisions and we don't already draft, the one relating to the preferred electoral system within Section 38 of the Constitution, we not conclude that the drafting for that it. That is because of waiting the tripartite recommend, say, make we get a national dialogue on waiting for be a preferred electoral system. And on our CC, over the past few weeks, we don't convene dialogue in several places. One, we convene consultations inside Britannia with various interest groups, with civil society, with elections management bodies, with security sector, with other stakeholders, and we bring experts in. We look into various electoral systems, and sit them on panel and share their expert opinion. The idea of them dialogue here, so now for make we able come up with a system, we go work for Salon, and then we move and beyond Freetown. We get regional dialogues. Now all the regions in the country, we get dialogue there. We are in stakeholders come share their views, etc. And then we close them in with a national dialogue. Now been to Manning. We say we get various positions expressed, we say we get people share insight into the various electoral systems. But I want to make you clarify something. The discussions around the preferred electoral system not start with an dialogue, Yasu. One, in the context of waiting to work well for this country, Yasu, make we go back, we'll like for take come back to the current Constitutional Review Committee, where former President Nkrumah been set up. After all the consultations across this country, after all the position papers with the current committee review, after looking at best practice in various countries, in the region and outside the African continent as well, the current Constitutional Review Committee been recommend, see, this country for transition permanently to the proportional representation system for election of members of parliament. And then government accept them now the white paper. So yes, now a proposal will come from the current committee and then of course accepted by government. But of course when we go to the tripartite committee, I've been getting the privilege of serving on the tripartite committee, we've been discussing. Whilst we not discuss them, we will say, let's have a conversation about it. So that conversation day, now we don't get, the facilitators don't prepare a report. We come out of then consultations here so in the national dialogue. Anytime now they will submit the report to we instead will come with in recommendations, and then that will lead we into drafting, which will be a preferred electoral system. We go work for Salon. But I just want to add, I think people that don't focus too much on whether we go first past the post when a constituency, single constituency member election, or whether we go to the PR system. Now, this country don't practice both systems. 3 elections. We don't get 6 elections, so we don't practice both. In 1996, we left for calling the wartime model where the country will be a single block for the PR system. And then, of course, in 2020, in 2002, and then in 2023, we go to the district block system. Just notice, say, we don't do 2 variations of the PR system. For make my people know, say, PR system is not like a one-size-fits-all thing. There are variations. So for we also want make people look at what in the system we go work for Salon. If we decide, say, na PR system we go to, which kind of PR system we will get at this country, we go ensure, say, 1, there's inclusiveness. 2, we get rid of violence in the elections. 3, there's broad participation. 4, there's ownership from the people. We say and feel, say, there's representation and that the elected representatives accountable to them. And then, of course, with that, the people in Ghana get a say in how that system is being structured.
So which kind of system una don't prefer or una don't suggest inside the drafting process?
No, so I've been saying in my earlier response to this question, so it is one area where we have not drafted, because even though we get the Cowan report, we get the white paper, we also want to wait for the report we come out of the national dialogue. And so once we get the report from the national dialogue and see what's are the recommendations in that report, we will draft immediately.
Still on the issue of the electoral system, the call for the appointment of the electoral chairman, now one way be serious concern. And I believe the tripartite recommendation captured that there should be a kind of recommendation on the appointment of the ACSL chairman. What's the makeup of that?
Well, I mean, the point is, it's one of the recommendations from the tripartite committee. The government don't include in the drafting process, and then it will go to parliament. And the point is, so we don't get systems in this country wherein President no one made them touch in power. That power with the constitution given, President made them touch him. But President Bill very open-minded on this. He has said that let's get a system with the work. The current system see consultation with all the registered political parties. But then, of course, there has been this question of what's not consultation. Does consultation mean that you bring everybody around the table and get a discussion with them? Does it mean that you inform the other person? And it's not defined. And so what tripartite recommend is that the president will constitute a search committee. There will be a search committee will be constituted as recommended in the tripartite report. There will be a search committee, and then that search committee will look at various candidates. This time round, noting say the person forgets some experience in governance and electoral matters, and then that search committee they will make recommendations to the president with names, and then the president will take from those recommendations, and then that person they go parliament. That is what has been recommended.
But when you look at the constitutional, almost a similar system within the constitution, we say president to consult political parties for make appointment of the ECSL chairman.
Well, it's different, right? Because in that the president can just sit down and in wisdom and say, Musa, now I want to recommend for be chair of the Electoral Commission, and then inform the opposition or the other registered political parties, and then the person go parliament.
So this recommendation, the president only for consult political parties?
No, but this recommendation now, they say, made the search committee vet candidates them, and then give their names and they to president and recommend their names and they to president, and then president can select from there. That's different. That's more participatory, and it take away from just the president in discretion as we get now the constitution.
Why they pick this search committee?
Well, the point is that the president will go for constitute the search committee.
The president?
Yes.
So it's just merely the same again? Not
necessarily, because the point is that so one, we we get models, right? Take like how we constitute the Human Rights Commission, right? Civil society go recommend, people go apply, and then we get a committee, institutional representatives, right? And so what is recommended is not just like the president take me, you, and it's up to you, and and say that. You go look at just like how it constitutes other committees inside the constitution. So we get representation from various interest groups, like from the religious community, from the media community, from the legal community, then one and day, you understand, from the employers community, like Labor Congress and all. Take note, say that is what functions right now with a lot of committees what they set up. So from there, then look at candidates and then make recommendation to the president, and then the president selects.
What about appointment of the police chief and also the chief of defense staff?
No, that one and of course remain within the domain of the president. So first we get for note one thing. So when we elect a president in this country, Now because we trust them for make decisions for we. Now because we trust them for make decisions for we picking them. Now because we trust them for make decisions for we mama and we papa them. And so now that's every progressive country they look at in their constitution with powers then they will belong to the president. The president be a primary responsibility for the security of the state. And so those are powers that you cannot take from the president. And so a very clear say, yes, we go say we get discussions like accountability discussions, right? There's a police council, there's a there's a independent police complaint board. Well, like now an oversight mechanism for ensuring there's accountability. We don't take step for review the 1964 Police Act for make sure say we get a police force where we'll transition from a police force to a police service, a service where more accountable, a service where they invest in engagement with communities and all of that. So those reforms are ongoing. So, but we cannot take those powers where the president really supposed for exercise when it comes to military security. And throw them somewhere else. We elect the president because we trust him for take them decisions here. So, and these are things that should remain under his purview.
Continue for stay with me inside the program. Alpha Sisi, Minister of Justice. Inside the program, they talk about the constitutional review proposals and the drafting process so far.
Earlier on, you talk about the appointment of the ECSL. Apart from that, there is this call also for look into the appointment of the Chief Justice, where the President appoints, and also the separation of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice office. The recommendation capture that?
Well, yeah. I mean, the point is that the recommendations in the Cowan Committee in reports capture a lot of things about the judiciary. One, of course, on the issue of the Chief Justice, of course, remain qualification remain the same, and that will be appointed by the president, and then, of course, it will go parliament. But the Cowan Committee also recommends, say, for increase the number of judges and at the various layers of the court. Of course, there are certain things as well. We will change. We sometimes some of it not just language, but then those are entrenched provisions as well. And then you come to the office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Yes, the committee also recommends, say, for ensure efficiency in government, for ensure, say, we get independence in some of the functions, and make we separate the two offices. Wherein we get the Attorney General who focus on being the legal advisor to government, and then the Minister of Justice will be a minister like any other minister. We will focus on broad issues in the justice sector. So yes, that is also captured.
Okay. So when this drafting process the end, we see the draft before Parliament for approval.
Well, like I've been saying, two phases, right?
The first phase.
The first phase, we the hope say, once Parliament resume, because Parliament will go on recess. Once Parliament resume, the provisions relating to elections don't be prepared and be tabled before Parliament immediately. And then the next set, the broad issues around the Constitution as captured in the Cowan report and the white paper will come. But what we will see as the next step. With Constitution don't go through several amendments over the years. And then now you get a lot of amendments were really significant. The elections proposals we don't talk about. And then you get plenty will come out of the Cowan report. Now, one thing we're clear, inside the Constitution, we get what we call entrenched provisions, and we get non-entrenched provisions. For non-entrenched provisions, now amendments we can take to Parliament debate, vote, and then a pass. For entrenched provisions, the Constitution very clear says once you touch any of the entrenched provisions, you get for taken to a referendum to the people. For example, when I've been start earlier, I've been talking about the human rights provisions. The human rights chapter in the Constitution, chapter 3 of the Constitution, an entrenched provision. If you touch any of the provisions in that chapter 3, then you get to go to a referendum. So even that side where I talk about the abolition of the death penalty, we would talk say just remove that language, we create room for execution of the order of the court. Or that side about the state of public emergency, we say no derogation when it comes to right to life or the right to be free from torture, or section 27 of the Constitution, inside that same chapter 3, we talk about freedom from discrimination, but also make room for areas and things that we government can do, we call discrimination. Government disagrees. We want to close the loopholes. You understand? So you say for draft a new chapter 20, section 27. Then when I entrenched clauses, you get other areas and we touch on the Constitution. So when you really look at all the entrenched clauses we need for be changed, it's over 20.
Okay.
How do you take this to a referendum? It's going to be challenging. So waiting government go do. Now notice say the Constitution don't undergo several amendments. And then now we talk about 17 other amendments we get for do with elections. And then we get a lot of provisions, right? So over 60 other amendments, other things that we need for be reviewed in the Constitution. And so at the end of this exercise, we believe, and as we want to explain to people, that the nature and character of the Constitution would not be altered in a way that you cannot continue to call this the 1991 Constitution. You will now call them a new and improved Constitution. And as per the current Constitution, if you say a new Constitution, that goes to a referendum. So one for say, yes, when we don't do all of these, we'll take the full package to the people in a referendum for make them vote yes or no on what we will call a new and improved Constitution for the people of this country.
So it name the change now from 1991 Constitution?
Yes, it will be. It will change from 1991 Constitution.
What will be the name?
There will be the year we the new Constitution will come into effect. That will be the year we will be tied in. So yes, we get for roll out a calendar. They make many people know when such a referendum will take place, and then roll out a massive public information, because we want many people to come along in this process. We want many people able for call this we Constitution or our Constitution. When we the Minister of Information and Civic Education and in team when they convene the Civic Day series in various districts recently, I've been in a Cambia, I've been in a Port Loco, I've been in a Kenema. You see, there is the appetite. That appetite they for waiting people will call a new and improved Constitution. So people are excited about it. And
earlier we start for talk, say President Bill committed for ensure say incomplete the process. Yes. You think say all this process go complete within the time we don't left for President Bill?
Yes. So what we will do now that we will draft the constitutional instruments, take them to Parliament, get Parliament for do their own part of this job, which is to debate and vote. And once that is done, we will leave this before the people of this country for make them vote in a referendum on what will be a new and improved Constitution for this country.
We can look at messages them way people don't send, but you go recall, or people will recall say ECOWAS be don't rule in the issue of the FGM case between Salon and the ECOWAS courts. What's in a government's position on that ruling? So
one is to note say government acknowledge receipt of the judgment from the ECOWAS court. Government respect the decision of the ECOWAS court, an important institution, one of the organs of the ECOWAS community, where President Bill na chair of right now, and so President Bill in commitment now for strengthening the institutions here, so including the court. Okay. Now on this specific judgment, of course, we don't want for divorce this judgment here, so from waiting government already been done say. If you go back to debate where take place in Parliament, the bill where government take to Parliament, where we call it Child Rights Bill, government been put na the bill say the practice of FGM for be based on consent. That means somebody for day at an age of consent. The age of consent in this country now 18. Now Parliament don't debate, Parliament don't modify the language. But then the broad principles themselves within the judgment, as well as waiting government put in the Child Rights Bill, they're not different. So yes, we don't receive the judgment, we study the judgment, and the issues where they inside the judgment, the human rights issues where the ECOWAS court raise inside the judgment, including the compensation where a order say for be paid to the survivor we're discussing this. And we're also discussing with partners we're involved in the litigation for CC. We're able to find common ground and CC the judgment in line with the reforms we will pursue in this country as well.
The issue of penalty now one will be done big controversies. Waiting be done at the draft bill we will go to parliament in terms of the penalty or fine.
The point is that so one, we don't try for avoid one thing. We don't try for make sure see the child rights bill of itself not only be about FGM. And so I want to shift the debate on that. The child rights bill so broad, it gets such progressive issues we get for do with picking lives in this country as well. For example, one of the real progressive things we are excited for talk about, and I still remember, I think me and Saptu can talk, we can say of something the way you want break, break them also. Now that government, now cabinet, don't adopt what we call the diversion policy for minors. We also did inside the child rights bill. We mean say going forward, we go implement a policy in this country in line with the Child Rights Act, where for ensure say for minors them, picking them where they come into conflict with the law, for offenses where not a murder or sexual penetration, make we divert them from the criminal justice process. That is in the child rights bill. And we want people in debate along that line there. Okay. Make it not only be about the provision we get for do with FGM.
President not sign them yet. We get for see president sign this bill.
Well, president will make that determination there. I know I'm for.
What you don't they discuss with regard the signing of her?
Well, I mean the point is that the president of INSEF and with advice from me as his Attorney General, Minister of Justice, as well as advice from the Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs, they look at the bill broadly and see waiting come from Parliament really reflect waiting government take to Parliament, and then if there's comfort in the fact say waiting go reflect waiting can, the president will sign. But these are powers, as I've been saying earlier, where the constitution give the president for make that determination there. And then, of course, if the president decides say he not sign, he will send them back to Parliament with reasons as to why he not sign, and encourage Parliament to look at certain things.
You optimistic say president design or pessimistic?
I'm very optimistic saying the child rights bill will go really change the landscape for how we protect, we picking them. Now this country also therefore become law after the president signed.
Now we can look at messages, but quicker before we go there, look at the issue of Josh Liejdeckers, where they don't ask for extradition. What's in the latest on Josh Liejdeckers?
Well, I want to say that as we been don't indicate earlier, the police been launched very broad investigations, right? And then after the police launched broad investigations, the Dutch government being able to submit documents to government through the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. And I don't indicate earlier, say, yes, we don't review all land documents, and they really indicate, say, yes, Josh Liejdeckers was convicted in the Netherlands in absentia for drug-related offenses and sentenced. And that the Dutch authorities then believe saying just Liejdeckers is in Sierra Leone. And so that now waiting the police they look at. Now when we look at just an issue, we look at them within a broad context. First, starting with the fact saying government in commitment to combating transnational crimes remain intact. Two, we see a lot of arrests and prosecutions. That not because Salone na drug infested states, now because we are acting. Okay. That is why we see them one day. And then three, now that a lot of the ways where this don't be reported in the media, including by people outside this country, it is not true. For example, in one of the recent reports, it indicates say the Dutch government not able to communicate with the government of Sierra Leone since May. That is not true, because up to June this year, as I talk about June 21, me as Attorney General, done they in discussions with my counterpart in the Netherlands, as well as the Dutch ambassador na Ghana. So we don't discuss this in the context of cooperation and mutual legal assistance.
What you
as to where we say we did, I want to say the investigations, they at such a critical stage right now that waiting the next steps will be make that happen in line with the Extradition Act of 1974, make that happen in line with conventions where London signed on combating transnational crimes, make it not be the details of which I go on for break now radio. I go on for say once something happens, something major happens, 98.1 go know, the people of Sierra Leone go know, and we really understand what are the steps and we
so earlier the police tell we say that Omar Sharif de Salon, and you don't they engage with you say as of June this year, don't they engage with Holland and also Ghana. Would I don't they talk about Omar Sharif or just Liejdeckers?
We'll talk about both Omar Sharif and just Liejdeckers because the Dutch,
so would I want to extradite?
Because we been on say the police been on make very clear say waiting come a picture and waiting come in the videos match the identity of an individual we come in this country as Omar Sharif. Now based on the papers we come from the Dutch authorities, the papers they indicate say the person where we say come in this country as Omar Sharif now in the Dutch then know as just Liejdeckers. Now the police investigation and any action where police go take go inform we as to what the link between them two people and they. But then also I always don't say in all my media engagement say we are going to do this in accordance with the law. Now if the police come and say we have someone we not just Liejdeckers, I will be in court as Attorney General because the law say when that happens, then the individual therefore be produced before a judge, and then the judge will deal with the matter as though the person is being tried for criminal conduct.
So Josh Liejdeckers struck Omar Sharif Ide Salon?
That the police go get for tell you. For me, I deal with the legal papers.
So what did they reply to Holland? So, what did they tell them with the person present or not?
So now I tell them about the legal processes where they take place in my office, and then when I can, I tell them about waiting they happen with police investigation. Now make we note one thing. See, in we country, the police not really they under the supervision of the Office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice. The police they under the supervision of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So that makes sometimes when somebody can get people and party them, or sometimes people when I don't know will call me and tell me say, oh police don't go arrest this person here so, right? Or this person also they in police custody. You understand? I make you step in. I can say that not to me work. Police now then they in charge of arrest, investigations and custody. Me now me they in charge of legal advice and if needed for prosecutions. We go to court.
If
so
you prepare extradition, we don't know if the person there or not. How will you do that?
Well, so the point is that I want for now that make I use words when I say extradition, I talk about cooperation, I talk about mutual legal assistance. Now the whole point is that mutual legal assistance not necessarily translates into extradition, right? So I want to make people and get that clear. But the point is, if let us say an extradition request don't come to the government of Sierra Leone, we in the law officers department therefore prepare legal papers. Okay. Whether there will be extradition or there will be no extradition, it is on us for prepare legal papers and make sure say we provide response within the ambits of the law. Okay. It's also a situation we are in. We have to prepare ourselves, right? Because if the police come today and say we have an individual, we match the description, and this person don't be brought into custody, we're not going to tell and say, well, we're going to give you 1 week or 2 weeks for prepare legal papers. Okay. You understand? We will do our part, and so that is how we have approached this. But I just really want to state this within the context. Sometimes the way it is portrayed out there is different from the reality of what happens in government, and that government's commitment to fighting transnational crimes remain intact. We see that with arrest, with prosecutions, with destruction of exhibits will be captured as part of these investigations.
Okay, one for say plenty thank you to you, Alpha CC, Attorney General and Minister of Justice. We take it time for be part of the program today. Good morning, Salon.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure for Dina 98.1 and for really bring the governance process closer to the people we supposed to serve. Now a great honor and a privilege for do this work here so for the people of Sierra Leone, and we want to ensure say anything what we do we bring the people along. And so tell you thanking at 98.1 for one of the provider platform day for make we bring governance to the people and bring the people along in the process of governing this country. Thank you very much.
Well, because of time now, we'll bring down the curtain for today's edition of the program Good Morning Salon. Plenty thank you to we producer Michael Sambola with support from Yeno Kabia and Mange Mansare. Plenty thank you to Fatmata Samura and Mary Kamara Bango and Mekuna Siri live on our Facebook page. Plenty thank you to DJ Cliff for technical support. We will bring the program today. My name is Adeyemi Jackson. They say goodbye.
And we say have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.